We're at Roc Star Studios and you're watching Urban Matrix. I am Searah Deysach and I'm the owner of Early2Bed, FTM Essentials, and Trans Kids. You can find our adult retail store at 5044 North Clark Street in Chicago, and we're online at early2bedshop.com, ftmessentials.com, and transkids.biz. So about 17 or 18 years ago, I was working at the Art Institute, going to graduate school, studying fiber art, and really realizing that my life was just not going the direction that I wanted it to. I wanted to do something else, and I wanted to feel like I was helping people more. And I knew that Chicago needed a space that was a warm, friendly, welcoming sex shop. Someplace people could ask questions about their sexuality, learn things, buy things, and just leave feeling happy and embodied and excited. And not knowing how to run a business or anything about the sex toy industry, I just somehow knew or felt that this was my job to create this space. And if it failed, then it failed. If it didn't, then, well, here I am 16 years later. So that's sort of where the genesis of Early2Bed came from. And then the other two businesses kind of grew out of it. Early2Bed is Chicago's first woman-owned sex toy store, and it is the only sex toy store in Chicago that uses the term feminist sex toy store. I started it from the ground up as being a place that not only was feminist, but also very queer-friendly, very education-focused. I wanted a place where someone could walk in and touch and feel and fondle sex toys before they made a decision about whether they wanted to purchase them. I wanted education to be a really important component of what we do, so we have been having workshops pretty much since we opened. I also do a lot of outreach in the community, colleges, social service agencies, just talking about masturbation, sex toys, orgasms, whatever it is people want to learn about, to try and get sex education into more people's hands as easily as possible. Well, the first time a woman came back to the store to tell me that I helped her have her first orgasm, it was one of those sort of, bing moments. Like, I knew I was doing the right thing. I knew I was on the right path. And at the very least, I knew I had changed one person's life. Over the years, there's been, lots of really great positive feedback from people that really helps me know that what I'm doing is right. I will have a miserable day. I'll have a day full of, complaining customers or tax problems or whatever it is that can really crush somebody who's running their own business or doing something that they're doing from their heart. And then, I'll get an email from somebody just thanking us for existing or thanking us for helping them, pick out their first lube that didn't make their body react negatively, or help them negotiate with their partner what they were going to do with a sex toy, or even helping them get their product really fast in the mail. Like, whatever it is, like, on a daily basis, we have opportunities to really realize that what we're doing is helping people on a really small level or a really big level. It kind of depends on the day. When I first opened the sex toy store in 2001, I didn't know that there would be any barriers. It never occurred to me that someone wouldn't want a sex toy store going into their neighborhood. And so when I first started to look for a space, immediately almost everybody shot me down. I mean, this is a different era. This is, long enough ago that the word sex toy store to people just meant, video booths in the back and guys in creepy trench coats. So it was not easy to find a space, which kind of led me to find a really weird space when I first opened up. Our first location was it was accessible, but it was not like a shopping neighborhood. So that was a bit of a challenge, but most of our customers were specifically coming to the store to shop. So that worked itself out. My first insurer immediately dropped me as soon as they walked into our store and saw that we had dildos. My insurance costs are higher, my credit card processing costs are higher. A credit card processing bank, after 10 years of really good relationship, just dropped me one day when a new funding bank decided they weren't going to fund stores like ours. Even though they weren't actually funding us, we were paying them. So there's been those kind of hurdles. The sex toy industry is changing a lot and becoming way more mainstream, but there's still a lot of barriers. You can't get traditional funding. It didn't even occur to me to apply for a bank loan when I started, because there was no way a bank would give me money, probably for various reasons, but also because of the industry that I'm in. I've heard that from other people. There's challenges of being a woman in a really male-dominated field. I expected there to be more problems from the neighborhood or from the community, more resistance for the first 2 years. Every day I walked to work and I thought, this is the day that someone's gonna try and shut us down, or this is the day that someone's gonna be protesting or whatever. And that's never happened. I have found that communities have been very welcoming to me. Where I am now in Andersonville on the north side is very receptive, and I'm integrated as a part of the community. But it doesn't mean that there's not, hate mail sometimes coming in. Just this past week, have been on the receiving end of very threatening, angry, evil emails and stories written about me for providing gender expression gear for young folk through trans kids. It's the worst that I've ever experienced, but it's given me a lot of perspective on what it kind of takes to be doing something in this world that is challenging specifically gender norms, but norms in general. Oh, there's a lot of fear people have when they come into a sex toy store. And there's lots of people who walk in and they're all great and fine and give me this dildo, I'll move on. But a lot of people who walk through the door the first time, they have no idea what they're gonna expect. And a lot of people, especially women who've been raised in our culture to not celebrate their bodies, to not take agency over their sexuality, walk into the store, they don't know what it's gonna be like. They have these questions, they don't know if they're gonna be able to ask them or if it's gonna be comfortable. And so seeing those people's face when they walk in, we kind of try and suss out those people and figure out what they need the most. One of the things we're dealing with this far in is women who've not experienced orgasm. And we're talking like 18-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 70-year-olds, like women kind of all across the spectrum. And it's the kind of thing that we've been dealing with from day one, and we will probably deal with till the end of our long life, hopefully. And so we have to work through that with people. And a lot of times there's not a really good, simple answer for that. But a lot of times we can help people, which is really great. A lot of people who come into the shop are worried that sex toys are going to interfere with their relationship with their partner. So we do a lot of talking about the difference between the pleasure your body's receiving and what it's like to be in a relationship with somebody else and what the other person can provide that no sex toy can. We still talk to people who are worried about becoming addicted to their sex toys, which is not a clinically possible really thing or that happens, but we try to just lighten everything. And if you become so in love with your vibrator that you need to use it all the time, it's really okay. That just means you're getting more pleasure. And I think sometimes people are afraid of experiencing genuine pleasure, that it will somehow be too much, be too scary, not fit into their idea of what sex is. There's so much focus in our culture on sex as something that is like, you're achieving it by doing it this many times a week, or for this long is how long you can go in and out, or whatever it is, that there's more focus on that sort of American, not ingenuity, but like achieving, and we're gonna just do this the best. And people lose sight so much of the idea that it's about pleasure and sensation. And so we try to bring that back into the conversation. Like, maybe your erection doesn't last that long, but maybe you can have ways to have it feel better while it's there, as opposed to numbing it so you can go at it for another 10 minutes while nobody's really feeling anything. So that fear, I think, of really tapping into genuine feelings of pleasure and sensuality as opposed to achieving vast goals.